UFC Fight Night, Aspinall versus Tybura, full card betting breakdown. We're going to go from the bottom, Jafel, Filho, and Barez, to the top with Tom Aspinall and Marcin Tybura. If you want the single fight breakdowns, I'll have those ones on my second channel, Burt MMA 2, but I mean, you could just skip along to see the fights you want the bets for as well. But yeah, we're going to give our thoughts on the props, the money lines, and potential parlay pieces for every single one of these fights. Let's get started straight away with the first fight here inside of the flyweight division with Jafel, Filho, and Barez. The age advantage does go Jafel. Height and reach also is going Jafel. I believe Barez is good enough to not get finished by Jafel. Filho, I expect it to be a very close, competitive decision that could go either way. As of right now, you're getting plus money on it to go to a decision. We're going to refresh just to see if any of the odds have changed. Yeah, we're at plus 105 for it to go to a decision. I believe that is a valuable bet because I think it does go to a decision more than 50% of the time, and it's plus money to go over 1.5 rounds. Also, I have Jafel Filho specifically winning that decision, so Jafel Filho by a decision at plus 275, or if you're not too confident either way, again, it is a very close fight, you could just do this straight up, plus 105 for it to go all the way. I believe that has some decent odds to it. The money line isn't the best on either guy. You're still getting minus money. Either way you go, there is not enough there for Jafel Filho. In my opinion, not really parlay piece worthy for either guy here. So goes to a decision or Jafel Filho by decision. Bruna, Brazil, and Shauna, Bannon in the women's strawweight division. You know what I'm going to say. You might not, but most likely you do. It's an underdog or pass. I'm going to say that right now. I'll probably say it at the end of this whole entire thing, that Shauna Bannon is an underdog or pass type of a fight. I don't know why she's a plus 135 underdog as of right now. She started off as a minus 155 favorite, was a very, very slight underdog for about a week. Moved up to plus 110 as a pretty slight underdog as well. And then she went down to being a favorite at one point, and now she's a big underdog again for no reason, in my opinion. You're getting plus 132 right here and plus 135 on some of the other bookies. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Plus 135 is very, very valuable for Shauna Bannon right there. I think that'd be an underdog or pass type of fight. Again, if you don't have Shauna Bannon winning, you don't feel good about it, don't bet the fight. That's why it's an underdog or pass. Another one is Bruna, Brazil by finish. I mean, for her not to get a finish is minus 350 on Betway. And if we look at Shauna Bannon's record so far, she has lost as an amateur, but only one of them was by finish against Nadezhda Goncharova a very, very long time ago. A 24-year-old Ukrainian that has all of her wins coming inside the distance by finish. And that was about 4 years ago. Since then, she's got a lot of finishes of her own. Fought the PFL future champion in Dakota Diakiese, who has a crazy finish rate. 7 out of her 8 wins as a pro are finishes. And then 2 out of her 4 as an amateur are finishes. And she was able to survive there. I don't really feel Bruna Brazil has too much of a chance to go out there and get the finish. She's got 3 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 3 decisions. I really, really do not see a path to victory where Bruna Brazil goes out there and gets the finish. So, minus 350 for just Bruna not by finish does make a lot of sense as a possible parlay piece. Shauna Bannon scorecards, no action as well. I love it. I love it. Plus 250 on Shauna Bannon to win. But if it hits the decision, you get your money back. Those are the two things for that women's MMA fight. Chris Duncan and Yanal Ashmouz, of course, just like the last one, it is an underdog or pass. What is up, Jags Nation in the chat? This is an underdog or pass type of a fight. I believe it's a 50-50, and I actually slightly lean towards Yanal Ashmouz to win this fight. I don't know why he's the underdog, aside from the fact that, well, Chris Duncan is living around this area. If it hits a decision, maybe he gets a nod on the scorecards because he's Scottish, but other than that, I don't really see where Chris Duncan is that much better than Yanal Ashmouz, except for the fact that I've seen him training a lot recently with Grant Dawson and Diego Ferreira and Damir Shmagulov, all of these really good wrestlers and grapplers in that lightweight division. I think there's a good shot if Duncan were to win. It'd probably be a decision, which leads me to believe this one right here is not showing for some reason, but Chris Duncan's scorecards no action is minus 125. Minus 125 for Duncan to get the finish. If it hits the decision, you get your money back. No way, Jose. You're getting plus money on my man Yanal Ashmouz to get the finish or not. The man is undefeated as an MMA fighter. He's got a solid chin as well. Very good ground and pound, crazy power in his hands. And Chris Duncan, man, just got knocked out badly by Vyacheslav Borisov. Got hurt really badly against Charlie Campbell. And Omar Morales, he was eating some shots on the feet and had to resort to the wrestling. So for this fight, it seems simple enough to me. Yanal Ashmouz scorecards no action is making a lot more sense the more and more I look at this fight. And if Duncan's gonna win, it'd have to be a decision. I don't see it being any other way. I don't know how there's this big of a disparity. Having Duncan by decision at plus 175 on some and then plus 330 on others is just crazy in my opinion. That's what they opened up at. Is having him at plus 175 is insane. I wouldn't have bet those odds, but now they're getting into the plus 300 ranges for Chris Duncan to win by a decision. Those are really valuable bets. So the inside the distance scorecards no action bets on Yanal Ashmouz, or you're hitting it with that plus 330. Duncan by a decision. It's a sprinkle bet. You're not betting a lot on Duncan by a decision because you're getting plus 330 on that. There's huge value for Duncan by decision right there, and there's huge value going the other way. I like to do this on a few of mine. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the tactic, but it's one of those where if you're really confident on one guy getting the finish no matter what, and you're very confident the other guy is not, you can do this one strategy that I like where you do Yanal Ashmouz by finish, decision, no action, where if he gets the finish, you win. If he doesn't get the finish, it goes to a decision, you get your money back. And if Duncan gets the finish, you lose the bet. But you do, for an example, $100 on Yanal Ashmouz by finish, decision, no action. And then you put like $100 as well, or sorry, not $100. You do like $25, $30 on Chris Duncan by a decision. That way, if Yanal Ashmouz goes out there and gets the finish, you get your money back from that decision bet that you bet on Chris Duncan. And if it does go to a decision, I think Chris Duncan probably gets the nod and you get your money back on there. And you don't lose any money on the inside the distance bet for Yanal Ashmouz. I don't know if I was explaining that one correctly. I'd probably do better if I had like a whiteboard or a chalkboard or whatever the case may be. But if you understand, comment down below that you do. For those that don't, ask down below in the comments and I'll try to explain it a bit better. But you're doing the inside the distance, no decision, no action on Yanal Ashmouz with like $100 and then sprinkling on Chris Duncan by a decision. And either way, you feel confident on those specific outcomes, you make money either way, or you at least break even and don't lose any money on those bets. That's kind of my thinking on that lightweight fights. Pannie Kianzad and Ketlen Viera in the bantamweight division. I'm going to say it right now, don't be putting a whole lot of money on this fight. It's not one I'm confident in and not one you should really be confident in. Betting odds are having Ketlen at minus 140, minus 150 range, which is a little bit valuable. I wouldn't say that's those are horrible odds on Ketlen Viera there, but there's not really much of an option for a decision bet. All you're getting is minus 115 on that, and at the best plus 120. There's not a lot there. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. This is one where you're going to have to underdog or pass here. Plus 250 on Pannie Kianzad by decision. That's literally it. It is a pass for me. I'm not going to be betting on this fight. It's women's MMA. They are sort of high-level women's MMA fighters, but it's not a fight I want to bet on, and not one that I would recommend you guys bet on. It's a pass for me. It should probably be a pass for you. Unless Ketlen Viera gets to like minus 110, minus 120, or somehow becomes the underdog by the fight, we're not betting on this fight. It's not happening. Bryan Barbarena, Makhmud Muradov in the middleweight division. Barbarena got submitted in his last two fights, Gunnar Nelson and Rafael dos Anjos. But Muradov is not that type of guy. He's a KO, TKO type of guy. And in order to go back to when Bryan has been TKO'd, it's been like 4 years. It has been like 4 years, and they were all absolute wars and late finish losses to Vicente Luque and Randy Brown. Other than that, the man loses decisions. He's actually really, really tough to go out there and finish via strikes. And he's also a very good striker as well in the welterweight division. But again, he's moving up a weight class to the middleweight division to take on a fairly big, powerful guy here in Makhmud Muradov. I still wouldn't recommend parlaying Makhmud. It's just, he's kind of an inconsistent type of guy for me. I wouldn't risk it in my opinion. But one thing I do believe has value. I have Makhmud Muradov by a TKO as the prediction, but we're here in a value game. It's plus 100 for the fight goes to a decision. I'm barely on the side that it does not go to a decision and Makhmud gets the finish. But again, you got to look at it more closely and see what is Makhmud Muradov by a finish. Plus 175, whereas Muradov by decision is going to be at plus 185. There's not much there. Again, I don't really like parlaying Muradov right there, and Muradov by decision and Muradov by TKO by knockout. There's really not enough value for me to consider putting a decent amount of a sprinkle on either one of those props. I'm going to be honest, there's not much here. There isn't really much here. Scorecards no action is the same as the money line. There's really not a lot here for me. I'll be honest. I will be honest. The only thing would be like a shot in the dark type of a thing on Barbarena by submission or something stupid. There's nothing here in my opinion. I don't like the money line. I don't like the props there. Even if you look at Barbarena's props, plus 650 to go to a decision, it's possible. It could be a close back and forth decision, but it's a pass for me. It's one of those very, very weird ones where why is Barbarena moving up the middleweight? It's an odd fight in my opinion. I would pass if I were you. Mick, Parkin, and Jamal Pogues, underdog or pass. You saw the prediction video from earlier this week. I mean, come on, plus 140 on Mick Parkin. He was at plus 210 at one point on the betting odds. Yeah, it's definitely an underdog bet on Mick Parkin, or you're not betting that money line. Don't you dare go out there and put $160 on Jamal Pogues. Minus 160, there's not enough there. Not enough value. I believe it's a 50-50. Flip a coin, one of the fighters is going to win based on that coin toss. One thing I do like is a finish bet on Mick Parkin. Not a lot of people are out here saying, most people are saying Jamal Pogues, decision over and over and over again. 4 out of his 5 wins are decisions. I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, well, if that's the case, why don't I just do Jamal Pogues by decision bet at plus 200? The reason being is it's a 50-50 if it goes to a decision, and there's a very good chance that Mick Parkin could go out there and get the finish as well in the UFC's heavyweight division. And if he is going to get that finish on Jamal Pogues, how does Jamal get finished? 1 loss by submission, 1 loss by KO. But you got to look at it deeper. 2 by submission. I don't know why it's not showing the... Oh, I must have reread it. But yeah, 2 losses by submission, 1 by TKO. You got to look at it more carefully. That was freaking 7 years ago. Since then, he's been striking with people, trying to head kick them, clinch them, and outstrike them on the feet, take them down and control them. But if he's getting a loss, it's a submission. He's getting arm barred. He's getting taken down, his back taken and submitted in those later rounds. And Mick Parkin is coming off a submission in his last fight on Eduardo Neves. I think Jamal Pogues has decent enough wrestling to where if he does get hurt on the feet, I don't think he's going to go down with strikes and actually get KO'd by that. I actually think it's very, very likely Mick Parkin gets a submission here. That's the prediction, is a Mick Parkin submission. Because, where did it go? Parkin by finish is at plus 200. Parkin by knockout is at plus 400. But what I like a lot, Parkin by submission at plus 550 and now plus 600 as of like a minute ago, which is kind of crazy. There's a lot of value on that. Those are the last two ways that Jamal Pogues has lost. And that's the last way that Mick Parkin has won. And you're getting 6-1 odds on that. That would be what I would do. An underdog bet on Mick Parkin or that submission bet. Joel Alvarez and Marc Diakiese in the lightweight division. Both 30 years old. Obviously huge height and reach disparity in favor of Joel Alvarez. If you're on this one bookie right here, Bet US, I'm gonna applaud you right now, because just hammer Joel Alvarez's money line. Sign up for a Bet Online account, for a DraftKings account, and literally just arbitrage that thing, because you're getting some crazy minus money there for Joel Alvarez at minus 140. I mean, I will tell you now, the channel members already know, but we bet Joel Alvarez. I believe we got him at plus 135, because I remember it was early on in July, but we got him very, very early on with like $135 to make $100. Now that money line situation is gone. Again, unless you are on that Bet US website. But it was a good money line, I thought. To have Joel Alvarez winning straight up at minus 135 was kind of crazy in my opinion, considering now Joel Alvarez to win by finish is minus 125. So I'm going to say it right now, we already got really good odds on Joel Alvarez. Now 200, minus 210, minus 220, even minus 250 on one of these. The value's gone there. The value is definitely gone in this lightweight fight. But you look closer down the list to the props, Alvarez by decision is interesting, because I mean Marc Diakiese lost the decision of Parkin, or Michael Johnson, I'm still thinking about the last one, didn't get knocked out or finished against Rafael Fiziev and had a really fluke submission loss to Dan Hooker and as well Rafael Alves. He doesn't get KO'd. He's not a guy out there getting knocked out, getting TKO'd or whatever the case may be. So what we're gonna do, if you missed out on the money line on Joel Alvarez, I'm gonna show you one that's on DraftKings. I don't know if it's on some of the lighter or smaller bookies as well. But I'm gonna show you one really quickly. It's a double chance bet, to where you can bet Joel Alvarez to win in two specific ways instead of just straight up to win. And this is the one, if I can find it. Joel Alvarez. There it is. Submission or decision. You'll get minus 110 on that. That's all I would do. Submission or decision bet, minus 110. If you've already missed the money line on him, I don't see him going out there getting a knockout. On Marc Diakiese, I believe Marc is, if he does get hurt on the feet, he's going to walk right into a submission of Joel Alvarez. Again, the decision bet on Joel Alvarez is very, very valuable. It's a lot of money there, but if you add that decision, just in case somehow Marc's able to survive with the submission for almost plus money, I think that's a solid bet. Joel Alvarez, submission or decision. Jonny Parsons and Danny Roberts in the welterweight division. Underdog or pass straight up. You're getting plus money on Jonny Parsons, plus 102, plus 100. You bet that, or you don't bet the fight at all. The prop odds on this one to go to a decision, not really good in my opinion. Parsons by TKO, which is the prediction, is only plus 165. I've looked at all these props. I looked at the scorecards, no action. None of it really makes sense. If you're going to bet this fight at all, it's the money line on Jonny Parsons. A little sprinkle on that one. Or don't bet the fight in the first place. Davey Grant and Daniel Marcos in the bantamweight division. This is a simple one. This is a simple one. There's good odds on Davey Grant right there. Not enough to where you're going to put a crazy amount on him. But again, plus 133 for a veteran that had a split decision with Adrian Yanez. Beat Marlonchito Vera. Beat and knocked out Jonathan Martinez, who is a top 15 guy. Was able to submit Rafael Sunsao and has had a lot of very good wins inside of the UFC. When he loses, it's by submission. Chris Holdsworth on The Ultimate Fighter, Damian Stasiak, Manny Bermudez. Other than that, I mean, it's submission losses and decision losses for Davey Grant with some really good wins of his own, and even the ones he's losing, like Marlon Vera and Adrian Yanez, he's able to eke out a round in a lot of those fights. And this one here, with Daniel Marcos, who's a striker, again, not a guy that's going to go out there and finish my guy Davey Grant, it seems simple enough. It seems very, very simple in my opinion. Minus 110, minus 105 now to go to a decision value. I highly, highly doubt Marcos is going to go out there and knock out Davey Grant. There's a chance Davey could go out there and knock out Daniel Marcos or submit him. But I highly, highly doubt it. I think goes to a decision makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, Grant to specifically win that decision at plus 330. That is all I would do. 350 now. Even more value. That is all I would do with that one. In the bantamweight division, again, minus 130 is Davey Grant. Scorecards, no action. So he's more likely to go out there and get the finish than Daniel Marcos, which I would actually agree with there. What is the inside the distance one? Yeah, they're only giving them, wow. They're having Grant by finish as more money, but the inside the distance decision, no action. That doesn't make any sense on those odds, but yeah, the fight goes to a decision or Davey Grant to win by decision or the money line underdog sprinkle on Davey Grant. All makes sense. Lerone Murphy and Josh Culibao. This one's going to be a similar strategy as the Davey Grant one. Davey Grant, we're getting minus 110 to go to a decision. This one, let's see, the moment of truth is here. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Minus 165? Are you kidding me? To go to a decision is insane. In my opinion, I don't like it. I don't like it. I was about to say, maybe if it was close to plus money, we might do goes to a decision. We're not doing that. Culibao by decision plus 300. Now that is valuable. That's a sprinkle underdog bet on Josh Culibao by a decision. Other than that, I'll be honest, there's nothing there. The money line, I don't really like for Lerone Murphy. And the fact that it going to a decision is pretty much minus 175, not really that good. The odds are pretty 50-50. The fact that you're getting double the odds on Lerone Murphy by a decision compared to Josh Culibao by a decision makes all the sense in the world to do a little bit of a sprinkle on Josh Culibao by a decision, but that would be about it. Jai Herbert and Fares Siam in the lightweight division. This is a dog or pass. The man is from England. He's from the area. It is a very, very close fight. It's a 50-50. They're both very, very similar in terms of their striking skills. Same height, similar reach. Same exact amount of fights in their professional MMA career. I believe it's a coin flip fight. So, I mean, duh. If it's a coin flip, underdog or pass. You're getting plus 140 on Jai Herbert as the underdog. I mean, that's solid. That is very, very solid. But fight to go to a decision is at minus 125. Herbert to win by knockout is at plus 475. And then Herbert by a decision is sitting right around plus 275. That'd be it. Plus 275 on Herbert by a decision, or we're passing here. Fares Siam, if he's out there getting finished in his fights, usually is by like a grappler / wrestler type of guy. I mean, in his last one, he was able to beat Michael Figlak. He was able to beat Luigi Vendramini, Jamie Malarkey, all of these guys. But if he's losing by finish, it's a rear naked by some Russians, a submission by Hayatan Wu, some Japanese or Asian fighter, and then a submission on Terrence McKinney, who took him down and finished him. Jai Herbert's not going to do that. Faresiam doesn't get knocked out, and Jai hasn't really been getting any knockouts recently, so plus 275 on Jai Herbert by knockout. Little salt and pepper sprinkle there. Andre Muniz, Paul Craig in the middleweight division. It's an underdogger pass, 1,000%. Where is the value on Andre Muniz, where he's at right now? Man is minus 210, minus 220, and even minus 256 on one of the bookies. Come on. We're not doing that. We're not. It's just not happening. Muniz inside the distance, yeah, could very well happen. Muniz by a decision, could very well happen. But what makes the most sense? What does Craig do in like every single fight that we all know is going to happen secretly, deep down, but we don't really think it's going to happen, and then it ends up happening? Craig by submission. We know. I know Andre Muniz is a great grappling game. He was undefeated in the UFC's middleweight division, finishing so many guys over and over and over again. Rear nakeds, arm bars, inverted armbar on Ronaldo Souza, submitted Eric Anders, beat Uriah Hall. But then he just got submitted by Brendan Allen. He got gassed out. And what do we know about Paul Craig in round number 3 where, well, Andre Muniz just lost? That's Paul Craig's favorite round. That is Paul Craig's favorite round, finishing Kennedy and Nzechukwu in round number 3, as well as Magomed Ankalaev in round number 3, taking both of their O's. Taking Jamal Hill's O. I mean, this dude is just taking Luis Henrique da Silva's O. Carl Moore's O. He's taking all of their O's. I know Andre Muniz doesn't have an O, but come on. Man just finds a way to get that submission. I don't think it'll happen, but plus 350? What are you talking about? Sprinkle on Andre Muniz to lose by submission. Nathaniel Wood and Andre Fili in the featherweight division. I'll say it straight up. Just so you don't waste too much time, I'm going to pass on this fight. Fight goes to a decision, isn't really that good. Minus 200 is crazy. Minus 200 on Nathaniel Wood's money line is also very, very crazy. I'm not that confident that he'd win a decision or that he'd win in general. Seems like a close back and forth split decision type of a fight. So yeah, we're just going to pass. I'm going to say that right. We're passing on that one. Molly Meatball McCann taking on Julija Stolyarenko in the women's flyweight division. All right. Possible parlay piece. That's first off. Possible parlay piece for Molly McCann there. We'll say that. She's at what? Minus 194? That's valuable. That is very... Where did she start off? Minus 400, ladies and gentlemen. July 9th all the way to July 16th, she was a 3-1 favorite. Now she's a 2-1 favorite, and you're getting premium odds there for Molly McCann. And if you look at the finish odds, it's not anything to really be super happy about. I mean, plus 135. Molly McCann by knockouts, plus 160. Just not enough there. There really is just not enough there. For her by decision, you'll get plus 240. Just not enough there. All I'll say, potential parlay piece on Molly McCann. Oh, I had a weird hiccup there. Potential parlay piece on Molly McCann or straight up money liner at minus 200. I don't really like the props. I'll say that right now. I'm really not a fan of the Molly McCann props. Main event time, Tom Aspinall. Yeah, we're going to say it. Parlay piece for Tom Aspinall's money line. And I do believe he'll get, if he does get the finish, that it will be a knockout. So, I know Aspinall by submission is very, very valuable at plus 340. I highly doubt it. He's the main event of a UFC London card. He submitted a lot of guys in the UFC, like Andrei Arlovsky, going out there and submitted Alexander Volkov. But other than that, 3 other knockout wins on solid opponents. And even outside the UFC, it was mainly just going out there, looking to get that knockout win. And Marcin Tybura has really good submission defense. Never been submitted, has been knocked out 4 times by Augusto Sakai, Derek Lewis, Shamil Abdurrahimov, and Steven Puetz. I think if you guess the finish, it will be a TKO. So, yeah, minus 150 is not that bad for an Aspinall KO. Yeah. That is it for the betting breakdown. UFC Fight Night London. Aspinall versus Tybura. Make sure to smash like, subscribe, comment your bets down below. Yeah. I would go through all the bets, but I feel like making you watch the video over to help with the algorithm. That sounds like fun. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.